If you like these tutorials, check out Next Level Painting on Patreon. Become a patron of the arts today. We offer early and exclusive access to our videos and a rewards program for different pledge levels. Patreon is PayPal and credit card secure, so you don't have to worry about that. We use 100% of the money to improve our process. Yo dog, Kenny Boucher here, Next Level Painting, hitting you up on the literal best of all days. On this Friday morning in sunny California, I'm going to be hitting you with yet another Next Level Painting tutorial. Today, we're going to paint those bases on those infinity models that we've been working on for weeks. Last week, we pinned them on the bases, showing you guys some, next level pinning of tiny pewter models to resin bases that are amazing, so that it eliminates the need to have to paint the base around the model. You want excellent resin bases, this is the way to do it. Now I'm going to show you how to paint those same bases. The one I used in the Jotun and all the infinity models. Quick shout out. I want to thank all my patrons for my recent support and the boost that I've been receiving on the page. Also, don't forget, I'm now on Twitch. Game changer. We're doing live tutorials every week. Next broadcast is going to be Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Anyway, let's do a quick roll call. I want to shout out Marcus, Turin, SDP80, Timmy, Matthew, David, Chris, and Mr. Dugan. Thank you guys for supporting me on Patreon. Anyway, let's jump right into this tutorial. Let's do this thing. Painting sick resin bases. I'm pretty sure this is a secret weapon miniature base right here. One of my favorite. Something like temple bases. Anyways, you can see here throughout the entire Panosha Infinity project we've been working on for the last month, you can see I've been using these bases. Now here's the trick. Cavalry brown, orange brown. The trick is that these are the same colors I'm using to accent some of the other cloth pieces and ammo cases on the models themselves. This helps us, get a complementary element here where the base complements parts of the model, but also has a pretty high level of contrast with the amazingly electric blues. Step one is we're just going to use that Cavalry brown mix 50-50 with that orange brown. Coat the base. This is literally how I do it on the Infinity models too, for their pants and everything. Now just take that orange brown, kind of thin it out, make it kind of pure. You can let some of that mix ride in the pot, and now we're just going to highlight the edges of it. This is a real fast process. Don't overthink it. You can see I didn't even let it dry. Just going in, blending it. And this is one of those situations I talk about where it's perfectly acceptable to go back and forth with the transition. I'm going to grab that darker Cavalry brown and just kind of reestablish the dark areas toward the centers and some of the cracks, kind of follow some of the shattered, like crater-like areas in there. Just kind of, give it a once over, going back to the dark. Call that the back shade, ancient next level techniques right there. And there it is. Looks pretty solid. Now we're going to go to the dry brush stage. This is literally the most ancient of all techniques. The first Tibetan monk on the mountains of Tibet knew this technique. Literally sunny skin tone, dry it up, get your dry brush ready to go, and literally go fucking nuts. Just going every which way. Kind of want to go real dry with it because you're just trying to find all those ridges and you're trying to let the darker Cavalry brown in the middle stay dark in the cracks. Barely catch those ridges as it goes. It is a pretty effective technique, I'm not going to lie. It's probably, first technique we all learn. I remember when I learned this technique on chains, I didn't know how to paint metal. Dry brush changed my life. Anyway, let's paint these stripes. First thing I'm going to do is just make a quick little gray. I'm going to grab the first white and the first black on my desk, mix them together, mainly white with a drop of black, and I'm just going to quickly establish the first white line there. And now I'm going to start just blending the white into the gray. Just real subtle, no big deal here. And then I'm going to get the detail brush out, start building that line, start with thick broad strokes. This is all a wet blend technique, as in the paint is still really wet as I go. and I'm just gonna blend it back and forth. Same thing with the airbrush, except with the paintbrush. You gotta learn these types of techniques. They're not very hard, as you can see. We got a neutral gray and a white, and then we're just gonna start blending them together as I deem fit. Like basically grab a little bit more black out of your pile, darken the mix and just go back and forth with it. This is a super easy process. I recommend experimenting with this anywhere. Bases is a great place to start because the base is going to have an amazingly painted miniature on it, so not nearly as out in the open to public criticism, but it is saying something to have an amazingly detailed base where you spent the time, put the techniques back into it, didn't just airbrush slack, which is what happens to a lot of people when they get an airbrush. So you can see here we've built the highlights up around those cracks. Went in there, just refined the highlights, making a nice little edge highlighted crack here. Now, once we build this nice little edge highlight, aka tracing, we're gonna come back in with the darker gray that we used in the beginning, and we're gonna kind of just build in some of those cracks that you can see that flow right through the middle of the stripe. This is one of my favorite things to do. There it is. Instead of using a wash here, we're just using that same gray. Really easy to do since we already have the wet blend palette already out, aka the top of my table and ancient Chinese technique water bottle lid. And there it is. That's a nice looking white stripe. Love it. Proud of it. That'll look good on any model, let alone a base. Now let's grab black red from the Vallejo series. This is a really amazing color. I can't say enough good things about this. Something about this color just blends so easily into the next red in the sequence. So just real quick, establish that stripe. Don't overthink it. I'm going kind of thin here just because I have a problem with red sometimes building up and flaking on me. So just kind of keeping the paint kind of thin. I might do multiple coats. Probably going to do one thin coat here, let it dry, then do the next one and wet blend from there. So here in the next scene, it'll already have, counted in the dry time. So this is the best. This Starlit Blood is so amazing. Mix it in 50-50 with that black red. Look at this. I'm just going to draw a stripe. Not even fucking around. Just draw a stripe. You're like, but what about the blending? You'll see. It just does it. This is just an amazing color. This paint from Vallejo is amazing. So it's kind of drying up on me there. Now I just grab a little bit more of that blood red, draw a skinnier line, and then kind of just blend it back in with that 50-50 mix you already made on your wet blend palette. Look at that shit. Literally blended right in. Now, sunny skin is one of the best ways to highlight red. A lot of people don't even know about this trick. So just grab some of that sunny skin tone, mix it in a little bit with your blood red, and just start drawing some highlights. Start off with broader strokes, kind of get the whole scope. Since we're moving fast and we're using a wet blend, just go for it, man. Like, worst thing that happens is you have to just go back a step. So now just start building those highlights more vivid as you go. Cut them in nice and tight. And then don't worry, because if they're a little too extreme, like I said, we'll go back one step and just grab the last color we used and blend it back in. And there it is. Now we're getting a very exciting red here, offset by the white stripe on a base that complements the model because it has the light color. Since there's a little bit of orange, a little bit of red in this, it also is a total complementary color to the blue. And then the stark contrast of the red-white stripe totally offsets the model. This is a real simple concept. Take your time with the base game. Sometimes I'll make a base like this before I even paint my first miniature. And there we are, just painting the cracks, drawing the details in the cracks. Real easy. Here's the last step, another ancient Chinese technique here. We're grabbing that dark sepia, and now we're gonna trace all the fractures in the rock segment. Just going in there, sort of the opposite of dry brushing, sort of the opposite of highlighting. But this is also not a just gangster wash. We are controlling the wash. Throwing it inside the little crater there, finding a little micro fractures, just quickly tracing them, feathering them in, get the excess wash off your brush, just get it in those cracks. You don't want to cut corners here. You don't want to be lazy and just let it spill over the edges. Just roll it off the tip of your brush, find the little holes, drop it in, find the little fractures, quickly brush it in. As you can see, here we go. We're not even going to think about a pow, line. Just keep it going, just keep following them like lightning streaks. Don't even play games. The three-dimensionality of the base is doing all the work for you by sucking in that wash. And we're going to be rewarded for our patience with an amazingly detailed base. that is worthy of the detail that we're putting into our miniatures on top of them. Bases are such an important part of the miniature game. So many people overlook them. They'll just go with the gravel and the grass. Nothing wrong with gravel grass. But if you put all those extra hours into the models that are on the bases that you're super proud of, I do recommend checking out Secret Weapon Miniatures and checking out some of their resin bases and doing something like this. Check out thelongwar.net. Become a member of the Hall of Veterans today for the fastest growing library of war game related video content, modeling, painting, and playing. Not to mention all the sick discounts I receive from some of our sponsors. TheLongwar.net is committed to bringing hobby back, and we can't do it without you.